Hi, Yvonne. How are you?
Hi, Karina. How you doing?
Good. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who don't know, this is Yvonne Ruiz. She is a loan officer out of CU SoCal Credit Union. How are ya?
I'm doing really well today. Just plugging away and a little bit excited because rates have eased up over the last 2 weeks. So that's good news for all of
Yay!
us. Yay.
Awesome. Do you feel like loan applications have increased as well?
I do. I do. I've seen an increase over the last 30 days. I think people are getting used to where the rates are, and people that really do need to refinance are doing it. And still a lot of people interested in buying. So, still doing a lot of pre approvals and have clients that are making offers that are still competing with multiple offers. So, still, a relatively active market.
Awesome. Good to hear. I'm excited to hear that the rates are improving. So that's always really good for
Thank
for home
goodness,
buyers.
right?
Yes, finally. I mean, I'm hoping that they stick around for at least mid next year or something like that. So,
So am I.
hoping
I
for
I
the
think
best.
we're going in the right direction.
Yes, definitely. Well, today's topic, just so we don't get off of topic, and we can go on and on, right? I want to go
Yeah.
ahead and talk about the misconceptions of FHA. I know we've talked about it before, and you have great tips on why it's best to go with FHA. Whereas some agents, they feel like, well, if this is an FHA buyer, maybe not. Because as an agent perspective, if I'm a listing agent, we're looking at FHA offer, we're like, wait a minute, this property
Right.
may not be eligible for FHA financing. So let's
Right.
maybe lean more towards another loan product, conventional, because again, there is FHA restrictions, and we'll go more into detail as far as what those are. But a lot of the things that you mentioned are super beneficial, definitely to go with
Right.
this program. So I kind of want to dive into that and share
Well,
with
frankly,
us.
I was very surprised. I guess I didn't think of it from a listing agent
Yes,
perspective. How
yes,
this, how we, I think you and I even started this conversation was that I had called a listing agent on behalf of a member that I had pre-approved and just wanted to speak to their strengths as buyers. And she said, "Well, why are they going FHA?" And I said, she said, "Do they have lower credit score or are they weaker borrowers?" And in
mhm,
that case, it was absolutely not. It was simply because the rate was so much lower. And when I
right,
compared what that same borrower could do conventional versus FHA, it was going to save them a couple $100 a month. So that kind of made the light go off in my head that, maybe I need to share some information. I think there is a misconception that FHA buyers are your weaker borrowers, and that's
right.
not always the case. Especially in your like high balance loans above
Oh,
766,550, the rates on high balance for conventional are at least 1% higher than your FHA rates.
oh,
Yes, on high balance. So that could be a reason. In that particular scenario that I mentioned to you, that was exactly the case. They were very high FICO borrowers, but they were only had 5% down. And when
okay.
I priced their loan out 5% down on an FHA versus 5% on conventional, they were saving hundreds of dollars. So an FHA borrower is not always the weaker borrower. It just might be that's the better situation, the better loan product for them to go with. Um, Another reason that someone might choose to go FHA versus conventional, say with an equivalent down payment, is people that have student loans. For
Oh, okay.
FHA, the student loans, you're going to count half as much as a monthly payment towards that debt ratio than you would on a conventional loan. So
Oh,
again, there's a lot of different nuances as to why someone would do FHA versus conventional. And as a realtor, what I would suggest is, if you have someone that you're considering an FHA and then maybe you have another borrower that's conventional, reach out to the lender and just ask, is there a reason they're going FHA? Because it may very well not be that they are a weaker borrower. It just might
Right.
be that program benefits them more.
Right. And in the process while you're analyzing them, crunching down the numbers, do you see which one they fit best, whether if it's FHA, conventional? Obviously, you weigh out all the options, right?
Absolutely. I'll pencil it out both ways. My goal is to always get them what they need. If the lower payment, lower closing costs, I'll pencil it out both ways. And then I'll share that with them. If
Right.
I think FHA is the better way for them, I'll say, I think you should use FHA and this is why compared to
Okay.
conventional. And, maybe conventional is a better way. I'm going to always gear the client towards what's going to work best for them. Um, and again, misconception that FHA is always for your weaker borrowers, because that is not always the case.
Right, right. Most people go that route just because, like you mentioned, if they have a lower FICO score, then that's the best fit for them. But
Right.
is there anything else as far as qualifications go? So is it very
Um,
standard, or if, like, let's say, is there a cap in income? If someone that makes
no income
like
caps.
what okay.
FHA can sometimes be more generous on their debt ratios.
Mhm.
Um, Again, the student loans are big. If you have a client that has a lot of student loans, FHA is much more favorable as far as what they're going to count as debt towards the borrower, excuse me. The PMI rate is the same whether you're a 620 score or a 700 score on an FHA loan.
Okay.
Where on a conventional loan, if you've got, say a 760 score compared to a 680, the difference in monthly PMI is going to be very big, very different. So let's see. The only reason, I mean, FHA, if you have a property that may have some issues as far as anything health and safety, broken glass, chipped paint, that kind of thing, FHA is a little bit more stricter on their appraisals that way. They're always going to operate on, is it safe for this FHA borrower? So again, that's something to consider. If the property is in need of roof repair and no one's going to be willing to do it, that might not be a good fit for FHA.
Right.
Again, just the best course of action is, if you're considering it, call the lender and have a conversation. Why are they going FHA? And talk about the property. Hey, it has this. Do you think this would fly? Just to help to give you as a listing agent information to help guide your seller to accept the best offer.
Right, definitely. I do agree. In this market, as of right now, I do see that most agents are being a little bit more lenient,
Mm,
considering that it's FHA, and like you said, lenders giving them a call, giving them the heads up. Hey, let me go ahead and break it down to you why we're going FHA. It's not
right.
necessarily that they're not strong buyers. It's, hey, they're saving more monthly,
Yes.
rates half of the regular price, so it's just way more beneficial for them. And I do
Right.
see we've had a few cases where they're like, okay, yeah, totally fine. But of course, if the home doesn't act like a full on fixer upper,
Right.
then it wouldn't really apply.
Where I've seen issues on FHA appraisals is, again, broken glass, chipped
Yeah.
paint.
Right.
But even on chipped paint, I mean, if you have a seller that's willing to do a little bit, sand it, they don't even sometimes have to repaint it, but just sand it so the chipped paint
Right.
is gone because they're afraid of asbestos.
Yes.
Anything health and safety like that, if there's obvious signs of leakage, say maybe on a ceiling, they're going to want a roof certification. Um, and conventional appraisers will call that out too, but sometimes you can get around it, as far as if the buyer's willing to accept it, maybe has some reserves and is
Mm.
willing to say, okay, I'm going to buy the house as is. Conventional could be a little bit more flexible on that, where FHA is like, we want them to move into a home that has no health and safety issues, even though they're aware of it.
Right.
So, some differences between an FHA and a conventional appraisal.
Right. I had one instance where an appraiser called out a dishwasher operating, like, out of all
Oh,
things,
wow.
and he didn't even call out the broken window. It was so strange. I'm like, How can you?
That is
Okay.
strange. Yeah,
Okay,
you know
a
what?
dishwasher. It's
That
a hit
is
or miss, I
strange.
guess.
Right, because usually, I mean, I know appraisers will test, like, the water, the stove, that kinda thing, but I've
Yes.
never had them wanna do a full-on load in the dishwasher.
I know. I'm like, "Okay, now we gotta replace a dishwasher. Cool."
Yeah.
That's interesting. And as far so you already went over the high balance. I think that's amazing. Can
That is
what are the
amazing. I mean, it's like today when I was looking at the rates, it's like 1 and 3/8 lower on a high balance, loan for
wow.
a FHA
For
with
FHA.
equivalent down payment versus conventional, so
How much
not
would you say
bad.
an estimate as far as how much they would save on a monthly basis, would you say?
Well, that could result in hundreds of dollars a month depending on the loan amount.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, again, just, as a listing agent, if everything looks good, but you're concerned about FHA, just reach out to the lender and
Yeah,
get the why behind it. It's not always the weaker borrower. It could be something simple as, you know what, they're gonna save $300 a month.
yeah, yeah. And I think someone to have someone on your side like you that would advocate for your buyer, let them know and just break it down, make them understand. The more you make
Right.
them understand, obviously, the more comfortable they'll feel in accepting that offer. And you
Yes,
do that every
and I
time, right? You do that for
yes,
every
I have if I'm, have pre-qualified or pre-approved, excuse me, a member, and I'm working closely with the realtor that's representing them, that I'll always call the listing agent.
yeah,
A lot of times, anyone can have a piece of paper saying, "Well, your credit score is this, and we pre-approved you for that." But sometimes
right,
to have that human interaction, an actual conversation with, this is why I did this, and speak to the strength of their employment, their credit score, or maybe if they did have some glitches on credit, how long the time has passed, and I've already run my automated underwriting, and I can send that to you, just whatever I can do to put all of everything in line for the buyer to be considered. That's why what we're working for. Get them in, get them the
yeah.
property they want, and the best financing available.
I love that you do that, and that's why we love working with you too, and we love that you take the extra step to advocate for our clients, so we love that so, so much. I found this session to be very valuable and, definitely have to share this with other agents so they are aware, the more you know, the better we can fight for our clients. So, I guess
Absolutely.
we just can go ahead and wrap
Absolutely.
this
That's what it's
up.
all about.
I'm hoping that you will join us to go over some other topics. And I really, really do appreciate you joining us. And thank you so much. I look forward to hopefully do another session soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Take care, Yvonne.
You too. Have a great day.
Alrighty. Bye.